All right, I'd like to call to order the Board of Commissioners regular meeting for November 28th, 2017. Could everybody please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. We have one addition to the agenda. Dr. Farr from South Piedmont is here to discuss the Western Union County progress campus. And we would add that as, I guess, new business I-2. Any other changes to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have nobody signed up for public comments. I'll take a motion to adopt the consent agenda. So moved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Before we get to reports, this is the fun part of being mayor. Where's little Miss Gladys? Where are you? Please stand up. I think, come on up here. I won't ask you to speak, but don't worry, but on behalf of the board, oh, you kept notes and everything. Well, then I guess you'll ask us to speak. But on behalf of the board, we want to congratulate you as you were named the Union County Woman of the Year. You've been a wonderful and will continue to be a wonderful contributor to our community. Your reach and influence across the town is far and wide. The greatest gift that you give to everybody, and certainly have given it to me, is what you teach us. You teach us about Waxhaw and our heritage. And as importantly, you teach us the importance of civility and that Waxhaw is really our town. It's everyone's town, and so be proud of Waxhaw and continually to strive to make it our town, one town. Congratulations, Gladys, and thank you, and we are so delighted that you will be the Grand Marshal for our 2017 Holiday Parade. Do you have a brief comment? Sure, come on over to the microphone so we catch it on camera.
Grateful I am that you announced my honor tonight. I pledge to try to live and hold up to all the expectations before me. May I just mention a bit of history. On December 19, 2017, our county of Union will be 175 years old. That old well house that you see at the Museum of the Waxhaws was the site of the signing of the incorporation or the charter for our county. Now we move to March 1889 and recognize the incorporation of our Waxhaw. And we note our president was Benjamin Harrison. Does everybody remember? And Mark Twain was writing books at that time. I'm so thankful for our home, for my home, my county, the old North State, our nation, the United States of America. May we never forget the importance of religion, education, and dedication to duty entwined in the lives of our founders. And may we carry this torch with determination to always show love and kindness as we touch the lives of our families, our friends, and total strangers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, you are going to stay for the full meeting, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On to reports. Commissioner Warner.
I guess I'm winding down on my term in office here, so I want to wish the town of Waxhaw well, and the future commissioners well also. That's about it.
Thank you. Commissioner Burns?
Congratulations to all of the winners of the election. I welcome you to the board. Look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fitzgerald?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Burrow?
Just a short thing. On November 17th, I was privileged to go to the town of Pittsburgh to take a course offered by the School of Government on capital budgeting for elected officials. I came away with just an impression of a group of people who are smart and have learned how to work together. They had a vision, they prepared to put it into practice, and they did it through their budgets. And that's a course that we have undertaken here. So I really look forward to the fact that we're working on it. We're going to have a capital improvement budget soon, and we actually have a new chief financial officer that will be joining us on December 5th. That's Lisa White. And thanks, Greg, for finding that person and taking that next step toward the fulfillment of what we really want as a town through our budget.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Hunt?
No comments.
A couple things in the spirit of being thankful and grateful. I received, on behalf of the town, a lovely thank you from a family who recently moved here from Alabama. They attended the Veterans Day celebration at the Wall of Honor. Not only did they express their gratitude for a time to remember, but express their thanks to the entire staff and all those involved for bringing honor to the veterans. So that was a nice thank you to receive last week. We also get a lot of questions about the YMCA. One of the things we have to do, because they are a partner in a private entity, that we have to be respectful of their process and what they go through. And sometimes it's different than ours. But their update as of the middle of November. By the end of February, the YMCA will complete their fundraising study for the initial phase of the facility and related parking. In conjunction with that, the YMCA will be taking the steps to secure the branch charter from the national organization. Assuming successful fundraising study results, and nobody anticipates anything but that, the YMCA will form a provisional board that is made up of community leaders from around the area. So I think that's all good news, but I will also add, they said by the end of February, so I do not anticipate another update from the YMCA until after they've completed that. We could use everybody's help, both everybody in the room and everybody out on the channel. If you have a question regarding the town, the quickest, most effective way to get an accurate answer and get it answered quickly is send a quick note to our communication hub, communications@waxhaw.com. That will get an answer out through the most appropriate channel or get you aligned to the individual that you need to be aligned with. So with that, thank you, and Manager Ferguson.
One item tonight, just a note that we have set our town board retreat for January 25th and 26th of the coming year. That'll be a day and a half retreat here in town. We'll finalize the details as we get closer to it, but we want to go ahead and get that out as that's a date that has been set. So we look forward to that work.
Thank you. I do want to add one thing. December 12th will be our organizational meeting, but it's a special meeting. We say thanks to those that are leaving, but also we welcome in the new commissioners, and it's a special time. It's a time for the community to meet our new commissioners as well, so I encourage anybody and everybody to come out and attend on the 12th and meet our new board members and welcome them appropriately. All right, next up, we have no public hearings. We're on to old business. This is actually an exciting topic, waste removal services agreement. The presenter is Greg Ferguson, and it's exciting because people have the opportunity to get a new recycling bin, and I never knew that was so exciting until the number of likes out on Facebook with that. So go ahead.
Okay. So last month, the board authorized the manager to go ahead and work on a contract with our waste provider, and to do so for a 5-year term. And that's RCS Waste, which has been the service provider for the town for a number of years. This particular contract would commence February 1st of 2018 and would end June 30, 2023. The exciting thing that's going to be a little bit different is that our recycling method is going to change, and it will actually change for the better in that we're going to get a 96-gallon cart rather than the smaller tubs that we currently are using. That will allow a number of things to occur, one of which will be less debris being blown around neighborhoods. It also will increase the volume and capacity. This 96-gallon rollout will be bi-weekly, so it will not be a weekly pickup, but because the capacity is so much larger, there should be a definite increase in recycling. So that will occur. February 1st will be the start date, and so residents will see those carts start to be delivered around that time frame. It is a large rollout of carts, so everybody might not get the cart on February 1st. There'll be a string of days where those are placed. They'll be brought to town, staged in town, and then delivered to each household. So that's how that will occur.
How do we plan to communicate that to the citizens?
We'll have a full communications, all of our social media, all our typical outreach activities will take place.
Questions for Manager Ferguson? Questions, comments, or a motion?
I'll make a motion, whatever it is. But I would like to make a motion that we do what we're asked to do.
We, you know, as the agenda says, I think what you meant to say was you'll entertain you'll provide a motion to approve the waste removal services agreement by and between the town of Waxhaw and RCS for the term commencing February 1st, 2018 and ending June 30th, 2023. Is that
Thank you.
what
Yeah,
you meant?
that's what I meant.
So we have a motion on the table to approve said agreement. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it, 5-0. So, thank you, Commissioner Warner. Next item. Action on the voluntary annexation petition 18-221, property located at 2418 Providence Road South. Ms. Small is...
I'm a little shorter. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor said, tonight is the decision meeting for the public hearing that we had 2 weeks ago regarding annexation petition 18-221. Since that time, no additional items have come to my attention. However, I would just make myself available for any questions, and the applicant is here as well for any additional items.
So we've had it presented. We've had a public hearing. Are there any additional questions, comments?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance extending the corporate limits of the town of Waxhaw as described in the proposed annexation ordinance 2017-009 to be effective November 28, 2017.
Okay, we have a motion on the table from Mayor Pro Tem Hunt. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Small. New business, voluntary advisory board and commission appointments. We had a discussion on this at the work session earlier today where Chairman Fisher presented the recommendation. You have the recommendation sheet in your packet. Do we have any further discussion, comments, motions?
No, but I'd like to make the motion to approve the 3 candidates.
So we have a motion to approve the 3 candidates for appointments to...
With the expiration dates, terms as applied in the packet.
Right. For the specific boards, Main Street, Parks, Culture, Recreation, and Planning Board. So we have that motion on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. Last item of new business, and this was the new addition to the agenda, discussion on South Piedmont Community College Western Union County Campus. Dr. Maria Farr, the president of South Piedmont. This was a request that came in this morning. Dr. Farr would like to talk to the board, so we're anxious to hear what you want to say. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
I think this is your first meeting here, isn't it?
It is my first meeting here. I've been to meetings in Waxhaw, but I have not addressed the Board of Commissioners. So thank you very much for hearing me, Mayor, for Commissioners, and the citizens of Waxhaw. I very much appreciate the opportunity to be here today. I believe I'm controlling. Is that correct? Just a reminder, again, in the spirit of Thanksgiving and gratitude, South Piedmont was very, very blessed to receive $40.2 million Union County General Obligation Bond. And with that money, there were several projects, as you can see up there. The one I'm here to talk about today is a proposed site in western Union County. So part of that bond was $6.3 million, and what is important about this this part of the bond is that our growth, the growth of the county, is generally in western Union County, and this gives us an opportunity at South Piedmont to reach the citizens in this area. And you will see as this presentation goes on, in terms of the accessibility to higher education and our opportunities there. And you can see in these key considerations that part of our mission is to ensure that we are the most relevant and comprehensive training institution for our students and for our employers. And it is very important as well that we develop key partnerships. And these partnerships can contribute to the accessibility of higher education for our citizens, as well as relevant workforce preparedness. But also important are enhancements to quality of life. Some of the criteria that went into looking at potential sites and having an understanding of where we would best serve the citizens is looking at where students go for their education. What you see here is a chart that shows Union County as a whole and then western Union County, which is incorporated, what we have up there are 3 zip codes that are generally constitute what is considered western Union County. And what you see there, out of all of the citizens in Union County, about 4,200 attend a community college. In Union County itself, 46% of those that attend a community college attend South Piedmont, 41% attend Central Piedmont. When you move over to western Union County, you see there are fewer individuals that attend community college, but that's a significant amount of individuals. But only 31% attend South Piedmont, and 61% of those individuals attending a community college are attending Central Piedmont. Often what we find is that students do not want to travel more than about 15 minutes to receive higher education, and that is one of the reasons why growth in western Union County is going to be important. Some of the criteria for identifying property is accessibility, and accessibility meaning the access to good routes, travel routes, as well as reasonable drive times for our target populations. Acreage is also important because there's a tremendous potential for growth. Because our bond was for the building structure, our request is that we get our land as an in-kind donation, an in-kind or a donated piece of property that has minimal land prep, because the amount of money that we have associated with that structure is going to be enough to cover the structure. And of course, what we're also looking for is property that gives us accessibility to our utilities. So I've been having ongoing discussions since I've been here, and many developers have approached the college, and I've gone out to look at properties. I recently had a request for $7.5 million to purchase a property. But with these developers, there were very high prices. The criteria that we were looking for generally was not there. We've had discussions with municipalities, and I must say that the town of Waxhaw has been the most welcoming community, and I really appreciate that. We have been holding listening sessions as a part of our strategic plan development. And we did hold one here in Waxhaw, and I was very impressed that we had 2 commissioners and the mayor attend that. But what we have heard is that Waxhaw is a place that really believes in the quality of life. And with that, the potential to develop higher education here is something that could truly benefit a great number of people. So we've looked at several sites. The college has looked at several sites, and we have found some that have met our criteria, and this is going to be part of this presentation to discuss a potential site. What's also exciting is we've been in contact with Wingate University, and what we're looking to do is to have a partnership also where we can extend higher education from the freshman to sophomore levels is what we have at South Pino up to the associate degree level, and actually have agreements with Wingate so that students can go to one site and receive higher education through this partnership all the way up through potentially doctorate degrees. Oops. So what we're looking at is a concept of education and quality of life partnerships. And with that, what you can see here is looking at collaborative agreements and partnerships, equal partnerships between South Piedmont and Wingate so that we can have that seamless education opportunity for individuals. But also there would be shared resources. Dr. Brown and I have been discussing this for quite some time about the ability, the reach of Wingate and the ability of us to work together to have those educational opportunities, those seamless educational opportunities, is already established as this foundational principle. And we could co-brand this site so that it can increase the reach that we have as well as the perceived value of having higher education in Western Union County. But there's also quality of life. And so I'm looking to partner with the municipality so that we can actually have property where we also have the collaborative spirit, where we support each other in what makes the municipality and the educational institution benefit from each other. And so this having a property that we could also help develop as a park amenity would be of value. So the request that I bring before this board is to develop a team to actually have a feasibility study, and that team be comprised of members from South Piedmont Community College, Wingate University, and the town of Waxhaw, so that we come together to examine this education and quality of life partnership concept, and also evaluate a property that we have found on Waxhaw Marvin Road. It's 34.66 acres, and it is owned by the town of Waxhaw. And so we'd like to consider that in this feasibility study. What's quite valuable about this is we talked about the land criteria, the accessibility, and recall that we were talking about, I mentioned that students really don't want to drive more than about 15 minutes to receive higher education. And so when you look at that potential site in relationship to the high schools, for Cuthbertson, Marvin Ridge, and Weddington specifically, it is around that 15-minute mark. For those students to go to the Levine campus, which is where the majority of students go that are attending Central Piedmont from Western Union County, it's a much longer driving distance. And it's also, this piece of property is pretty much lodged in between our Monroe campus and the Levine campus. And so there is enough distance there where there's going to be an attractive draw for students. So the feasibility study elements, as you see here, would begin with the project definition. And this is something, again, that we would work on collaboratively. The rationale for the partnership, what the facility design would be like, because one of the things, I am not looking to develop a facility that is already obsolete. So we're looking at something that is very innovative, attractive for today's education. Is it doable? Is it feasible financially, technically, operationally, and practically? And does market research support this? So you can see a lot of the questions that would be answered by this feasibility study. A timeline, as you can see here, this is a pretty aggressive timeline. And the desire for it to continue to move like this is, you know, as we look at the costs of construction, those costs keep rising. And so what happens is the value of our bond is not giving us as much as it would if we have to wait too much longer. Wingate University already occupies some space in Ballantyne, and they're moving out at the end of this year. So they're going to want to relocate as well, and relocating as part of our facility, and they would mainly be there on nights and weekends. is also something that really speeds the need to be looking at this project. It speeds it up a little bit. And of course, we're having a need for growth as well. And so those are some of the influencers on such a progressive timeline. So I offer that to you as a request that you would agree with my board. By the way, I did present this to my board of trustees. We entered into closed session right before our Thanksgiving break so that I could make sure that they were on board with this, and I have their full support. And we would like to present this to the town of Waxhaw to hopefully have your support to enter into this feasibility study. So that is my request to you.
Well, thank you for coming out and shocking the socks off of all of us. Just to make sure, well, first of all, you know how strongly we've been pushing that there is only one location for South Piedmont.
There's been a lot of advocacy for Waxhaw,
Yeah.
but I do understand it. It is really, from what I have done in my research, it is the best location, I believe, in Western Union County to support this opportunity.
And I'm going to throw it open to questions from the board, but what you're asking for, you're not asking for a commitment other than to the feasibility. We're both sticking, where you're asking, you want to stick a toe in the water, we stick a toe in the water and kind of look at, is this right? Correct?
That is,
Yeah.
yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about, because, you know, we all want this to be successful, and the only way to do that is to put in the time to look at this project, to be reasonable about its feasibility. And because we both want it to be successful, or we all want it to be successful. And so it is worth looking into in terms of a feasibility study. So it's not a commitment that this is going to happen. It is a request that we examine this as an option.
And it's up to 10 acres depending upon, it's not the whole site.
It is not the whole site. Because, you know, that is the other thing. I see this as really being mutually beneficial, and so that's why we want to be at the table with the town of Waxhaw in partnership.
And about a month and a half ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, I did get a commitment from Representative Craig Horn that wherever this lands, he will personally go out, knock door to door, and explain this, and explain the importance of higher education in Western Union County. Fact of the matter is, I'm excited and humbled that you're making this request, but the fact of the matter is, in the latest economic development study that came out from the Charlotte Economic Development Organization, Union County is really lagging behind on the higher education side in that workforce development. So, and we did not have listed one critical asset for the region, and that's a challenge which potentially this could begin to address. I'm going to throw it open to questions, comments to the board. So, Commissioner Burrow.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be presented with the idea of going forward with the feasibility study. I, for one, am for it. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. I think it's a sophisticated use that will come to Waxhaw, both you and potentially Wingate University. Beats Bojangles every day. So I'm for it. I don't know about the other board members, but thank you very much.
I have more of a legal question for Chaplain. What would be the best appropriate step? I know Fred just said he's for it consensus-wise, but would it be best to have a motion and possible vote?
You could do this either way, since it's not a full commitment, but you are committing resources, the town manager and staff, and I think it would be better to go ahead and do a motion just to formalize it a little bit more, and it'd be just a motion to authorize the feasibility study with the town manager and appropriate staff.
The key point is we're not committing the future board to anything other than do the work of a
No,
feasibility
this is a
study.
feasibility study, and then the board of the town will have to make a decision based upon the analysis from that and their desire on what they want the 34 acres used for. So this is just to start the process to look and study it. But there will be some investment in staff time, and I think that's why it was presented to you formally and to be open.
Yeah. Just a curiosity question. When we're not going to ask you like what other locations you looked at, but what were some of the things that your board looked at in looking at the various places that you looked at that they concluded Waxhaw?
Actually, those criteria that I presented, when we were looking at sites, a lot of it was ease of access and land prep and utilities. I mean, those were the three main elements. And in terms of size, the ability to have potential growth and to also have the way I look at it also is, you know, right now, looking at this, we have the ability to create something wonderful that doesn't exist everywhere in terms of a partnership between a municipality and higher education. And being able to look at this as a unified group so that we are all benefiting from the individual value set, I think is something that is unique. And I know that excited my board quite a bit, looking at the partnership concept of it, because that is something unique. And I think, again, in terms of looking at sites, it was mainly that criteria. And Waxhaw, I do have to say, not only is just blessed with good location, but really with, again, I feel like this is such a welcoming community. And that, to me, is there was a lot of advocacy for Waxhaw, including even a donor interested in supporting the facility in the town of Waxhaw. So
we won't ask you the amount of money that we won't go there.
But you know, I think that there is a fit to making decisions like this, as well as some of that criteria, and I could say that we feel that this is a very, very good fit. So
you had interactions with Dr. Brown.
I have.
You know, so we're sure he's for it, but can you just give us a perspective from
yes.
him?
And actually, they own property in other areas, not in Waxhaw, that they own property. So they had the ability to move anywhere. They really wanted the partnership. And when we looked at the location sites, the potential location sites, I would say that Dr. Brown and I were alike in saying that the criteria that were important, it was important to both of us. And again, he is very interested also in being, I would say, joined with this partnership, so that, you know, we are really truly looking at a higher education continuum.
So that
Questions?
Well, so that being said, and in the spirit of our Parks and Recreation cultural master plan that we have that clearly states, in this case it would be public-public relationship building, and to hearken back to the Waxhaw Board of Commissioners from 2009 to 2013 that actually purchased the 34.66 acres with the mind of an economic developer or economic driver for Waxhaw. I think that this is one of the best, I guess the better word, of gifts that we could give the citizens of Waxhaw to at least enter into the feasibility study. So I make a motion that we, as board, direct Town Manager Ferguson to enter into this, or to set up the parameters for this feasibility study and bring it back to this board when he's got that in place to get it started, and if there's a selection process or whatever he's looking for.
So we have a motion. Dr. Farr, could you go back one slide and just look at the timeline? Because
Certainly. Whoops.
So to tie your motion in, you're talking about having the study team in place, or at least named, by the 15th. Most importantly, progress reports to every board. I'm assuming that means not only this board, but Wingate and your board on a monthly basis.
My board is very interested in progress reports.
Yes, okay. So regular updates,
Yes.
to be determined by the feasibility team. So, okay. We have a motion. Any further comments, questions, concerns, discussion? Commissioner Fitzgerald.
I would just like to make the comment, I would like to thank you for bringing that to our town. Thank you for, hopefully we'll retain some of our young, brilliant minds that we have here in Western Union County. Because right now, we don't have a place for them to go to higher education. They have to go to another county, basically. And you partnering with Wingate is unbelievable. And I'm thrilled to death because there's nothing better than that higher education for our young people.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions?
Yes, I'd like to say something. Yeah, this is completely, wow, what happened? Where'd this come from? But it's really very close to what we had planned on for the public-private developer, and probably better. So I would highly support it. Yes.
Okay, if no further questions or comments, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. So,
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ferguson, we'll be back to you. Curiosity question, since you went from closed session
Yes.
to joint replacement
Yes, that was my husband.
and Thanksgiving vacation,
Yes.
I'm assuming you're going to communicate out to your board, et cetera, because this is live and the press will have it at this point. I know this is the first public.
That is correct. Yeah,
Presentation.
my first day back from that board meeting was yesterday.
Okay.
And I did contact my board chair, and I did tell him I was coming here today. So we are very transparent, and so yes, I will communicate that back. But I very much thank you for your time and for your support.
And just one quick question, just so the board knows. On your board, from Waxhaw, Gary Summerfield, and anybody else?
He replaced Mr. Roos,
Mr. Roos.
who was from Waxhaw.
Okay. And then from the Board of County Commissioners, Mr. Akebis is on the chair, is on the board as well, correct?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we have no further business to conduct, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? We do not have a closed session. No. I mean, if you want to go in closed session, but we have no closed session. We have nothing to discuss in closed session. So I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Commissioner Fitzgerald, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. Long day. Wow, that's a shocker.
Yeah. Wow.
You all had no free will.